Hello, and welcome to DevOps Simulation Trainer Workshop. My name is Dana Pulaeva. I'm an Agile and DevOps trainer from New York and the author of Introduction to DevOps with Lego and Chocolate Game. In this tutorial, I'm going to share with you what I learned running this game in 15 countries at over 40 conferences and meetups, as well as with many of my private clients. You will get to see some of the key discoveries made by the participants in my workshops. This program will give you all you need to run this simulation with your teams and help them build a solid foundational understanding of DevOps culture. Let's get right into it and experience these workshops through this 3 minutes video.
Why is the manager asking so many questions? Did she email you and ping you on Slack? Come over to your desk.
Lots of great energy in the room. The group is having fun and they're learning about misalignment of goal between development and operations in traditional organizations, the 3 ways of DevOps and how they can make a difference. When you bring this simulation to your group, they will too learn about shift left on security, T-shaped skills that make DevOps successful, continuous delivery, common bottlenecks of DevOps, and finally, the crucial role that safety plays in organizational culture. And here is a trainer session in a nutshell. In today's tutorial, you'll get to know how the game came about and learn the ins and outs of the game dynamics. I'll share some tips on running it with different audience and in different room configuration. We'll talk about wall posters required for this simulation and talk about how can you make debriefing more powerful with liberating structures. I'm especially happy that in 2019, I added more focus on third way of DevOps, which was missing in the original game. We'll talk about all that. And finally, talk about how can you improve as a facilitator, how you can use your own amplified feedback loop. I created this game in 2014 after reading The Phoenix Project by Jen Kim. At that time, I was working as a DBA manager as well as leading internal Agile community of practice. This is where this simulation was first play tested. It has changed significantly since then, reflecting my discovery of training from the back of the room, the art of the game design, and liberating structures. If you are a TBR fan, you will immediately notice that this simulation is structured with 4C framework: connection, concept, concrete practice, and conclusion. As fun as this simulation is, the goal of running it extends far beyond a simple team building activity. The repetition of 4C framework with frequent debriefing is what helps bring learning home and connect the simulation with the real world for the participants. Once you pass your DSCT test, you will receive full access to the same material I used to run this workshop. Let's go ahead and walk through the structure of the workshop. You'll start the simulation by asking participants to connect with each other and with a DevOps topic, specifically asking them to answer 3 questions in the next 2 minutes. What is your name? What is your current role? And what is your experience with DevOps? You will introduce the first topic, the misalignment of goal between development and operation in traditional organizations, and show how it leads to low trust culture, causing unnecessary delays in the end-to-end product development process. This is where you will also share the stats from various industry reports showcasing how DevOps is solving the goal misalignment dysfunction and improves organizational culture. And here's the script I used for introducing this game with the workshop participants. In this game, we are all going to be new hires at this large dysfunctional organization that's in the business of building Lego animals. Every one of you will have a special role, and at first we'll mostly work with people at your table. We will run through 3 sprints, first simulating how our large organization works before introducing DevOps practices. I also call it Feel the Pain. In second sprint, we will take first steps towards DevOps, and in third, we'll introduce continuous value delivery. I'm going to walk you through the game flow of our first sprint. When I mention your role, please stand up so that we can all see who you are in this game. Everything starts with Benjamin business. Benjamin knows exactly what's hot on the market based on the animal exchange board. Patricia product works with Benjamin to select the product backlog items and bring them back to her team. Danny developer can start building as soon as he knows from Patricia what to build, and as soon as he has development environment. The problem is, he doesn't know how to create those development environments. He needs help from Adam admin. For each of the products built in our organization, we have a definition of done. On the back side of your handout, you have a definition of done for a small development package. 1 Lego animal, 1 chocolate. Each animal has a small label with a number on it. The package is closed and the content doesn't fall out when turned upside down. Because our teams have recently started using Scrum, we have a separate testing role, team tester. Team is testing small development package, and if they pass the test, gives them to Robert release to package for deployment. Here's our definition of done of deployment package. Once the package is built, team tester will run the integration test. If successful, Robert will send the package to Sarah Security for the final pre-production security scan. Sarah will compare the number on each Lego animals with the numbers in her security issues catalog. If she finds a match, the entire deployment package will have to go back and be rebuilt. No issues? Robert release will check with Adam admin, and if it's okay to deploy, we'll finally deliver package to Benjamin business, who will pay for the product if he likes it. And when I say pay, I'm not joking. Benjamin business, can you open the green box and show everyone what's inside? Okay, at this point, you should be fairly confused. And if you're not confused, it means you were not paying attention. Don't worry, you'll figure it out as we start playing. I will take 3 questions and then we'll get going. One more thing, there will be some special instructions in this game. They'll be distributed to specific people, and since we are in the culture of silo at this moment, these people will only execute what's in instructions, but they will not share those instructions with others. You can use exactly the same script to introduce the game when you run it. Time for concrete practice. We're going to run the first sprint and simulating the culture of silos. 18 minutes, you can use the interval timer. And this is where our version of Scrum is going to be executed. And one person that I didn't mention in the description is Samuel Scrum, or the Scrum Master. He is going to be making sure that the team is doing what needs to be done, and he is going to be removing impediments, just like in real life. You will be given special instructions card to Sarah Security and Adam Admin in Sprint 1. These instructions are not to be shared with other roles until the time is right. Sarah Security gets her card at the beginning of the sprint, and she needs to pick 3 random numbers within the given range. These numbers will become security bugs. Adam Admin gets his card in the middle of Sprint 1. We are in a code freeze. He must not allow any production deployments for the rest of the sprint. Since everyone playing a different role in this simulation, plan on spending at least 10 to 15 minutes in debriefing. Connect the fragmented experience with the real life and reconstruct the big picture. I love starting the debriefing from the development team because by now they must have built quite a few packages. What they don't know is that these packages never delivered to the business. So as far as they're concerned, they're done. And that's what you hear during the debriefing. Yes, we did a great job, we delivered, everything is fine. Then you turn around to the business table and you ask them, so you must be happy. And to the surprise of the development team, business responds with, what do you mean? We didn't get anything. And that's where you first seeing that big disconnect. That's where it gets exposed for the first time. Then you turn around to the operations table and you ask them, do you know what happened? And that's where for the first time, the entire group hears from Adam Admin that, hey, we actually were in the code freeze, so we couldn't deliver anything. Now that the team experienced the pain of the status quo, they're ready to start learning about DevOps. And you're going to introduce second concept, first way of DevOps, system thinking. You will talk about optimizing flow and discuss with them typical bottlenecks in DevOps transformation. And you'll find that many of them exist in their organizations. Now time for the second sprint or concrete practice. You're going to do something very different in this sprint. First of all, you're going to ask Sarah Security to move from her table and join development team, or what we call shift left on security. She's also going to tell development team from now on about security issues at the beginning of the sprint. Second, we're going to run cross-training simulation, building T-shaped skills in the organization. And third, we're going to invite operations into our team and start working collaboratively together. The way we run cross-training simulation, we have a set of stickers where every color represents a different role. During the T-shaped skill simulation, team is asked to exchange the stickers and explain to each other what they do in this game. You will be introducing 3 special cards in Sprint 2. First one is Harry Hacker. This is a special character whose whole goal is to create unplanned emergency work for other players. Look around, find someone who looks bored, and ask him to be the hacker. The best time to introduce this card is when the rest of the team is doing cross-training, because they're busy and they're not paying attention. Harry Hacker is going to walk around and break into all the development environments that are there. The second card is Sarah Security. In the Sprint 2, Sarah Security's role is changing because now she needs to find any issues with the environments, anywhere whether it's a little hard or any kind of marks on the environments that Harry introduced. And she has to stop the development up until the environments are patched. The third card that's going to be introduced in Sprint 2 is the special card for Benjamin Business. This is where Benjamin is given instructions to start changing the prices, reflecting the changes in the market. Any animals that have not been delivered, he will need to drop the price and he needs to start asking for new animals. Debriefing Sprint 2 is fun because you're going to hear a lot of excitement from people. At the same time, there would be issues coming up when people feel like they cross-train somebody else and now they don't have anything to do. So it's empowerment and discomfort of new roles. Those are the emotional sides of Sprint 2. Next concept you will introduce, second way of DevOps, amplify feedback loop. When introducing this topic, you need to make sure you cover reducing the deployment batch size so that we could get faster feedback from our customers, giving developers immediate feedback from every step of CI/CD pipeline, and getting feedback from production, implementing telemetry, on-call rotation that includes developers, sharing the information on system performance under production load with those who build it. In this section, we also cover some of the organizational impediments a group can run into when introducing continuous delivery. Concrete practice in Sprint 3 is about experiencing continuous value delivery. You will introduce these new game elements to enable the simulation of that. First, you ask the team to start splitting large batches and start sending one animal at a time through the delivery pipeline. Distribute green packages, our model of containerization. The team can build their Lego animals directly into green package and after testing, deploy them straight to production. No need to create additional deployment package. Ask Adam admin to learn new skills and enable environments configuration on demand by providing the strips of green tape to anyone who needs to build an environment. There are a lot of aha moments ready to be shared after Sprint 3. Simply by looking at the delivery board, it is clear that moving away from the culture of silos to DevOps culture can benefit your organization. Spend at least 20 minutes debriefing after Sprint 3. Your group will learn a lot from that. Help them think through how to bring this learning back to their organizations. There is only one special card in the Sprint 3, and that card is for Patricia Product, to remind her to split large stories in the smaller ones and help her team to move to one-piece flow. This simulation works really well in medium to large size organizations and might be a little bit less effective in startups because they already operate with DevOps mindset. It's great for technical audience because they can find a lot of parallels with what they do today. And it's also good for non-technical audience because they feel less intimidated learning about DevOps in this format. It's good for management and even for your business. In terms of audience size, it's better to run it with the group from 20 to 30 people. Because we're simulating a life of large enterprise, it's kind of hard to simulate large enterprise with 10 people in your room. And if you have a group larger than 35, definitely ask for help from a second facilitator. When you're setting up the room, make sure you're mimicking product delivery flow and keeping the ratio of one operations team to 2 development team and approximately 1 tester per 2 to 3 developers. There are 5 posters that you need to prepare for this workshop. First one is Lego Animal Exchange poster. This is where you list different animals, prices, demands, and the badge size in the beginning of the game. Second poster is a delivery board poster. This poster is going to be used by the business to keep track of delivered work items to them. 2 posters that are hidden at the beginning of the game. First one is the cross-training poster. You will reveal it before the second sprint. Next poster is known good environment configuration poster. This is the poster that will be used in the third sprint. And one last poster, my top takeaways. This is where you will collect feedback that will help you improve as a facilitator. A little bit about debriefing. I once heard someone say that any simulation, any agile games is just an excuse to debrief. Keeping that in mind, make sure you spend enough time in debriefing after every round. And remember introverts in your room. Give them a little bit of time to reflect in silence about what happened in simulation and give them a chance to write down their thoughts on the post-it. And definitely experiment with different facilitation techniques. The ones that I discovered recently are called liberating structures. I used at least 3 of them in this simulation, and I'm going to share them with you as well. The first one that's very appropriate for Sprint 1 debriefing is called 3 Ws, or what, so what, now what. It's a good way to reflect on what happened, how did we feel, what does it mean, and now what are we going to do about it as it relates to our organizations. The second one is called 1, 2 for all, and it starts with 1 minute by yourself, reflecting on the experience so far and writing down your aha moments, 1 aha moment per post-it. Then coming together with another person in the room and now in pairs discussing those aha moments, and in 2 minutes coming up with the best ones that you want to push forward. Then next step is coming together in the groups of 4. And again, discussing ideas, discussing which are the best ideas that are worth sharing with the rest of the group. And then at the end of the 4 minutes, you coming forward with one person representing each group and sharing those ideas for the rest of the group to learn. And the third liberating structure is called fishbowl. We are running a slightly modified version of it in this simulation. And the way it works, you have 5 chairs. One is always empty as an invitation to join the discussion. Anyone can join, but only people in a fishbowl can talk. So the way it works, if someone has been talking for a long time and a new person comes in the empty chair, the person who's been talking for longer has to get up and leave one chair empty. It's a fantastic way to debrief in the large groups. Give it a try. Third way of DevOps is the last topic of this simulation. Using these slides, you will introduce the group to the culture of continuous experimentation and learning. Introduce them to Netflix Chaos Monkey, one of the examples of practice injecting failure to test resilience, and then introduce them to Ron Westrom's cultures and model of organizational cultures. Ron Westrom described 3 types of culture: pathological, bureaucratic, and generative. When things are not going well in the fear-ridden pathological culture, the natural response of the organization is to suppress the bad news and not let it spread. Bureaucratic culture works to downplay the severity and implement the fix locally, and only the generative culture, where people feel safe and driven by company mission, the problem is addressed and the global fix occurs. DevOps and Agile thrive in generative culture and may cause resistance and new fears in pathological and bureaucratic one. It is important to notice that there is a connection between third way of DevOps and psychological safety. If you're surprised by this connection, you're not alone. I asked the same question in my lightning keynote at Agile plus DevOps East in Orlando last year, and very few people raised their hands. My interpretation of this disconnect is that this is the byproduct of companies starting their DevOps journey from automation only. They hire DevOps engineers, create DevOps teams, or even simply rebrand sysadmins into DevOps, and do nothing major to truly break down the silos between development and operations. People in those organizations are likely to continue to operate from the place of fear and be unable to experience the benefits that come with DevOps culture. What even worse, as Amy Edmondson noted in her latest book, The Fearless Organization, a lack of psychological safety can create an illusion of success that eventually turns into serious business failure. This illusion of success of DevOps practices has even emerged in 2018 State of DevOps report by Puppet and Splunk. During the data gathering process of that report, C-level executives, management, and team members were asked a series of questions, 15 of which were related to penetration level of various DevOps practices in organizations. I've generated a simple graph based on those responses, and the gap became even more pronounced. On average, C-level executives reported 58% better penetration level than those that are observed by teams on the ground, with astonishing 97% difference for incident responses are automated. When team members don't feel safe to report to C-level the true status of DevOps adoption in the organization, it is highly unlikely that they will be willing to speak about ambiguous threats, ask questions, or share their opinion when they don't align with those in the top-level management. And that brings us to concrete practice. In the concrete practice, you're going to facilitate a round of fear in the workplace and practice recognizing fears and fear symptoms using the scenarios in these cards. In the deck, you will find two types of cards. One is called Classify Me and has different scenarios and things people say when they are in the toxic fear-ridden cultures. The second type of card is Fears and Fear Symptoms cards. And those are the cards with little monsters that represent different fears and fear symptoms. Here's an example of how you may play the game. One person reads a scenario from the Classify Me card, and other people at the table work together to find the best matching fears and symptoms from the cards that they have in their hands. When I facilitate this game with the participants, they always are very surprised by the ease with which they're able to have conversations about fears, all because of these funny monster cards. And of course, don't forget to facilitate a debriefing. You want to finish it on a very powerful note, helping people to connect with the similar challenges from their own workplaces. Ask them what surprised them in the game. Ask them have they recognized any scenarios from their organizations. Help them make that connection. And I like to wrap up this workshop by asking them a specific question, which is, if you were 10 times bolder, what big ideas would you experiment with in your organization? Let them reflect on that. One last thing you want to remember in the workshop is don't forget about closing your own feedback loop. You want to get some feedback from the participants so you know what worked, what were some of the gaps, and maybe what were some of the discoveries that are worth sharing. And these are some of the examples of my own feedback loop from many different conferences where I facilitated this workshop. With that, I'd like to thank you for signing up for this course. Embracing a new culture is hard, but not for people who learn about DevOps culture through DevOps with Leg and Chocolate workshop. Take a certification test. You'll get access to the Dropbox with the slide deck to use in your own workshops, as well as all the details on where to get supplies, how to pack for the workshop, and all those things. You will also become a part of a global community of DevOps with Leg and Chocolate facilitators who are helping people around the world embrace DevOps culture. And now it's your turn. Have fun. Change mindsets. Enable DevOps transformation success story. I'm excited for your journey.